Tabletop time.
And I'm Rob.
I'm Dave, and I'm playing Delvin, who interrupts people. Sorry, you were saying, Brick?
I am very insulted by your interrupting, young man.
I'm an impetuous little scamp. I like to interrupt people when they're in the middle of something.
I'm Brick. I'm a bodyguard for this impetuous young man, and he will live to regret interrupting me.
Oh, I hope not. He's my bodyguard.
I'm Jazza, the narrator, and I'm just relieved that he's living to regret anything, considering the last session.
That's fair.
I'm Jen, and I'm playing Catalina, and I made a freaking fireball!
Best thumbnail.
That was the coolest everything ever.
Hey. Hey. We made a fireball.
Oh, we did make a fireball.
Doing the Tyrael thing.
Jen, hold my hand.
All right.
Do the other way. Dave's got tiny hands. Jen has like monster paws.
So we pick up where we left off, which was, I think, the very moment that we left off the last chapter.
Yep.
Was Brick took his helmet off, just as his former master said, "What on earth is going on?" And look, there's so much to recap. Let's try and do a brief recap because it was so monumental that we do need to do it. How do we tackle this one, peeps?
Well, I think the only one that got tackled was Dalvin. He was held on the ground in a headlock for a little bit.
That's true. There was a
But essentially, we snuck through a city in some guards' uniforms and then tried to get in to see a larger shale, but we encountered some spire guards. And
The world's most perceptive spire guard. Who recognized the
He was also lightning quick and very, very strong, and he's very good with his weapons.
They all were. That's fine. They're very well trained. But I was more taken by the fact that due to my lack of skill apparently being deceptive in that instance, he happened to know everything down to the shoe size of the man I was trying to interpret.
Oof. The way that all escalated was just magic. I love it. Anyway, I'll gush later.
I tripped over and fell on a gentleman a few times, and then
happened to be holding a few points.
I happened to be holding a knife, and then I slipped and tripped on another one, and then accidentally Butterfingers.
Whoa!
I also partook in the stabbing. It was wonderful.
That was a really
we touched tips through a man.
We did touch tips.
Right through a man. Yeah. We sandwiched a man between us and touched tips.
It was a shish kebab.
Right. It was wonderful.
That
It was a bonding moment. Nothing more bonding than when you take a life together.
Ha 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 ha.
I know this.
Feeling.
I demonstrated strength and did not kill anyone.
I just imagine a camera zooming in as that song's going, and right in the middle there's just a squirt of arterial blood into the face.
And Jen's fireball was just a very cool moment because I didn't expect that ring to come in so useful. She went back outside when things, literally, if she didn't step outside and do something, I think it was going to be looking pretty bad for the party. But the fact that worked together and built so well in a way that I couldn't even think to script it that well. It just worked so well. Clicked it, grabbed it. I threw a little bit of a destiny bone there, and then it just went boom. Like Jen rolled to turn it into
Can
fireball.
I make a silly suggestion? Can we get heart rate monitors?
And have them like under each person.
For like intense moments, you just flick it on and watch it go to like 140, 150.
I love it. That's great. So that's sort of where we left off after incinerating a whole bunch of spire guards and watching houses start going up. You all end up inside the rear entrance of Lady Eladra Shale's house, who is currently standing in front of you. Silk, colourful robes adorned with gold, looking wide-eyed and shocked, holding a glass of red Phelan wine. Well, out with it then.
Is the door behind us closed?
The door behind you is closed. I'm just going to put a few things out there at the very beginning. Mere moments after, because there's been a couple of minutes that have passed since the big fireball thing happened and everyone scrambled, got your daggers, came back inside. You hear a distant bell that starts to go off, signifying something. And Delvin is feeling particularly unwell. Now, we did specify that after stretching yourself so much that you have a level 1 injury based on that magic. I'm adding to that. It's not a level 2 injury, but you have -2 to all of your rolls right now. Purely based on your sensitivity to magic. As the adrenaline of that last moment sort of wears off, you're feeling your body sort of tighten, and almost like if you have a migraine and someone is like bashing a pan from behind you and outside the building, it's like there is something screaming at your very fiber of your being, and it's coming from the direction of the spire.
Madame,
I was saying, I would have taken my helmet off at this point.
She like squints, and so I'm gonna give her a perception roll. Wait, Brick, is that you?
Yes, mistress.
You're
It has been
Ainsley's now. You've come to bring me to Ainsley and take me out of here. Wait. Why are you wearing that? And who are these people?
These are my companions. We have been traveling for some time since everything that happened.
She looks pretty numb. Roll a perception check. I'll give this one just to Brick. Oh, actually, you know what? Everyone else can make it. But Brick's challenge level 3, and you both are challenge level 4.
oh,
That was
so
close.
close.
It's -2. That was the
3.
same. 3.
What's my chance?
3.
You're sorry.
Are you sure it wasn't just 3 for everyone?
I won't go further in detail, but I will say you both notice at least that she's not sober.
Have you got any particular attachments to this here property, lady?
None at all.
Well, gather your possessions.
What is the meaning of all this? What is... And she like looks past you to the frosted sort of like colored glass at the back of the door is sort of shimmering, flickering a bit. And there's that bell hasn't stopped, and there's a distant clamor sort of happening. Very, very distant.
I'm sorry, mistress. There was an altercation outside, but we are not here to take you to Ainsley.
While they're talking, Delvin is moving around the room now, like kind of like deranged looking. Is there a fireplace?
Yeah, there's some coals. Like there's still a bit of a fire in the corner. But it's
Where are your linens?
my servant is indisposed, but if you look under the stairs, I'm sure you might be able to
Just drive off there, like
Are
sort
you-
of shaking in this step.
Are you wounded? Somebody, please explain to me what is happening.
You talk.
I fear that it's not safe here. We should probably convene elsewhere. There's a terrible madness going on outside.
Yes, well, I'm afraid I am unable to leave. So, okay, you access her emotions. Oh, as you tap into her, you sense a world of emotions, but there's sort of like a general numbness that is used through alcohol to harness. You're not reading clear emotions, and that's intentional. She's
Okay.
drunk and not wanting to feel much.
Sure.
Delvin is dragging like an armful of linen across the room. Continue.
I'm gonna give Brick a bit of a shove,
She walks up to you and just like looks you up and down. Now, the state you're in, having just come out of that situation you've come out of, you'd be a little scruffy. Yeah. So she looks at you like, you are in no state to represent or guard anyone. What is happening? Who?
I have been guarding my companions. And as I said, there was an altercation outside. It had not ended well, and it probably will not get any better for some time. There is a very big fire raging outside.
She walks past you as you say this and reaches out to grab the door and opens it up and looks outside. By this stage, I'm going to say like 1.5 buildings on each side at the end are engorged in flames.
Yeah.
And it's starting to slowly crawl sort of like in this direction. It wouldn't get here immediately or anytime soon. But beyond the flames, you can see people gathering. Roll a perception check. Anyone near a window on the opposite side? I might give this one to...
I'm busy.
You're
okay.
Oh, I'm busy. Delvin's in the middle of something.
Okay. Nothing for Catalina. You're looking out the door. That
We'll place
that she
bets.
is. Yeah, go for
0
it.
successes.
Oh, come on, don't be.
Nah,
No,
you'll get
one.
2.
Yeah, no,
3,
you got
3, 4. Okay.
Okay,
Well
yeah.
done.
So Brick notices, ever aware of his environment, out of the distant windows, he sees some large carriages that seem to be fortified and built to carry water, and they have sort of some rigged machinery to it, like pumps and stuff, and they're sort of clambering around and being dragged along by large cart horses, like 4 large horses to carry these large things of water. So it's like basically the Barrow and engineered capital city equivalent of a fire department. Yeah.
Yep.
And so they're clambering around the direction that you guys came. What's Delvin up to?
Liquor! Like literally snapping his fingers behind, shouting liquor. Spins with blood covering his face and the look of complete derangement in his eyes, glaring, holding linens and asking for liquor, clicking at
What?
everyone in the room, not her in particular.
She looks to Catalina. Athanasian, you must have a level head. Can you please explain to me what the man and property in the room cannot?
It is true we have to take you to Ainsley, but what is happening right now was not intended. Things got messier, I guess, or I don't know, maybe the King of Flames, he's not happy. I'm not sure, but we do need to leave, and soon.
She looks out the door again. I'm going to roll a perception check for her. I'm going to say this is challenge level 3. She got a perfect roll. She sees spire guards.
Okay.
Though hard to see in the contrasting light and with the calamity that's grabbing attention. She slams the door shut and pushes her body up against it and looks at you all wide-eyed saying, "What have you gotten me into? Ainsley wouldn't have asked you to do something like this."
I told you we are not here on Ainsley's demands.
And we didn't do this. I want to shift her emotions.
Okay. You are still deceiving though.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy
Okay.
to roll
So
it.
roll deception. Do you know what I might do? Is you can assist your deception with your magic. You can choose if it's
Okay.
going to be a 1 or a 2 assist because you have 2 dice to roll with. But if you choose if it's 2 and you fail in 1, you lose a mana. If you choose if it's 1,
Okay.
then you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Cool. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So I'll roll magic roll first.
how many are you assisting?
I'll roll both.
You're going to risk
You're
both.
aiming for 2,
Yeah.
a plus 2 to your deception.
I really want to. Yep. Because I don't
Okay.
know how we're going to get her out of this house if we don't try.
by carrying her. Oh. She's not going to have a choice.
You don't know that.
Go for it.
Risk it for the business.
Yeah.
You lose one.
So you
life.
lose 1 mana, but you assert delicate but extremely skilled control over her emotions. As you say, this was not us. Expound a little bit. Like, what do you say to her?
And that's just 1 win to a deception check, right?
No, it's plus 2. So you're going to have to roll deception,
Oh, yeah.
but
Should we
you
roll
get plus
deception
2 wins. Yep. And her perception. So you have to beat. Whoa!
what the heck?
She got 4.
How many have you got?
5
You can
That's
do it.
it. You got plus 2 wins.
and 1.
You've just got to get.
No, that's fine.
That's 4.
You forced a reroll.
And that's 4. It's a
you
reroll.
forced a reroll, and you've got plus 2 wins.
Yeah.
Actually, does it again.
All right.
No, a 3.
3.
So now you get 2 again.
Yeah, the statistics and the odds are not in my favor.
You got 2 again, and you win.
You win.
4 versus 3.
Yeah, you win. So she looks very skeptical at first, but you actually wouldn't have convinced her, given that she lives here and knows how all this stuff functions. But I think it's through your eye contact and how you're saying this to her.
I say that your safety is our number one priority. We need to get you out of here.
I see.
There's
Well, I'm afraid it's not quite that simple. Open up in the name of the king!
Is that
Everyone can roll perception. Challenge level 3.
Come on. 3.
You got 3. Okay. Anyone else want to roll?
Oh.
That's 3 for Brick. And
2.
that's 2 for Delvin. So Delvin doesn't quite get it, but you recognize the voice. And there's probably only one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Delvin, what's going on with our little barrel?
Have I
buddy?
found liquor? In
She
this
wasn't paying
alcoholic's
much
house?
attention, but there is fairly easy to find. There's a half-drunk bottle of wine on the bench, and there's some
Spirits is what I'm
spirits.
after.
Yeah, there's
So
spirits.
if you guys pay any attention
No.
to Delvin for the last couple of minutes, no?
Well,
Just
half, but I know that you're okay at least.
Delvin has basically, like a madman, moved around the room. He has currently emptied out every bottle of spirits he can find onto a pile of linens, which he's dragged across the room and thrown over wooden banisters.
I'll say you find spirits.
That's
I'm
what he's
rolling
attempting
for
to
how much?
As
That's
much
7.
as-
Okay, yeah. There's like 3 bottles.
Cool.
Yep. So you got something.
A
to
doused
work
dry linen in that, put it over furniture, put it all, spread it across the room, and Delvin is standing next to the fireplace with
What
the
on
most
earth are you
sodden piece
doing?
of linen.
Yeah.
with. Brick, get the door.
What?
She sort of says, reflectively commanding you, and then sort of apologizes and says, who actually is in charge of it right now?
We were hoping you could tell me.
Well, Ainsley. So if he's assigned you or granted you to someone else, then
He is not.
He's got to follow my orders.
that's all I was asking.
Right.
You don't seem all that capable to command right now.
Oh,
if you don't
I'm
mind me
perfectly
observing.
fine. I'm operating on a level you guys don't seem to be comprehending yet. Now, are we quite ready to leave?
Well, yeah, I
Open
go,
the door.
I go open the
Oh.
door.
You open the door. You see a
I also like
shocked
half
and
open.
sweaty. It seems like he took a lot to get here quickly, but he looks like wide-eyed and confused and angry and shocked. Behind him is the carriage that you all came
Oh.
here in,
Heck yeah!
and eggs and bacon lined up. Also looking recently rushed.
Love eggs.
I then once I realized
Now, I
I
have no idea what's going on, but I know that I haven't left you for more than an hour and something like this occurs in exactly the vicinity I know you would be. So, you have moments to explain to me what's happening. I promised I'd get you out of here alive, so I stand to keep that promise. But I need to know if you could be trusted right now. What is happening that the capital is in such upheaval immediately?
Everyone's turning to me.
Are we going for it?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so debuffed.
Yeah. I will say that the town's currently on fire. It's probably best that we talk in the carriage.
Elijah actually says, sort of slowly nodding, looking at the Grey Guard captain, because he is a Grey Guard captain, not an Aspire Guard, who's been sort of seemingly keeping Elijah somewhat hostage, and says across the room to him, I don't believe that they caused that calamity from what I could gather. Are you in any way associated with these people? You could say that, and only recently. They've come here to see you, have they? I suppose.
And things did not go as planned.
You can say that again.
Now, my fine
Things did
lady.
not go as planned.
My fine lady, do you quite have everything you might need for a journey? Your wealth, your papers, anything you could possibly want to have on you right now?
She takes a slightly stumbled few steps across the room and grabs the rest of the bottle of wine and starts to walk to the door.
And Delvin just looks at the captain and says, "This house is no longer safe to be in. We gotta go." And then throws his linen straight into the fire.
Wait, no. She says to Brick, hold this, and hands you a bottle of red wine. Walks back and says, I shan't be too long, and starts to walk upstairs.
Dalvin looks down at the fireplace linens that are now getting...
Are you going to go after her, or am I?
You can.
Do they take
I'm here
off?
to protect him.
He's standing there waiting. She does briskly walk. It doesn't look like she seems like she's intending to be away for long, but she seems sort of just past all of this.
I'm still going to
She
follow
comes
her.
back down moments
Okay,
later.
cool.
She's wearing more gold around her wrists and neck, and she's holding a small pile of folded clothes that she just seemed to grab from a cupboard.
Okay.
I think there's
And
some...
she's also doing that half putting on shoes walk as she's sort of
I
stepping
think
in
there's
her
some
shoes.
cognitive disconnect from the fact that Dalvin just lit the room on fire.
I like to think that you tried to and then you pulled it back.
I think, yeah, and given what's happening outside, there's sort of like this...
Is it like the Master and Commander where the guy walks down the deck of the ship, that famous scene and the cannonballs are going off and he just doesn't care?
That's
Pirates
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah. Right, so room burning
Wait.
now?
You're doing this to this room, and you had nothing to do with what's happening at the end of the block.
What, you think I...
Get in the carriage! He starts to walk down the stairs.
Cool.
And climbs into the driver's seat.
And we jump in the back.
Yeah, we clamber in.
Okay. You clamber in, slowly trailing behind is, well, not slowly, but at the tail end of the party is a larger shale. There is a lot of calamity happening on the streets. People rushing past, no one's paying any attention to you because, you know, a good 50 meters away at the end of this large block, there's this huge blazing flame. There's a tint of magenta to the flame, just something slightly different, but it's pretty impressive looking, even though the magic that cast it has long sort of dissipated as far as its initial spark. There's a heat emanating that's quite confronting even from this distance. Everyone loads into the cart. You'll notice immediately when you get into the cart, at the end of the cart from the entry, there is a note on the wall of the cart with a dagger through it.
Oh, great.
Everyone climbs into the cart.
Delightful.
Wait,
Russell.
where is this on the car?
It's in, like, you open the...
It's inside the car?
Yeah, it's
okay.
inside the cart.
Cool.
Doors are slammed shut, locked, shunk, and Russell gets back.
First
in the
thing I
front.
go to is the note.
Okay. And the carriage starts to roll along, clanking along the cobblestones, and the madness outside and the distant bells sort of muffle into the background as Delvin acquires a note. Removes the knife, or how you just grab it or read it, or what do you? Yep. It seems you
Free
have.
knife.
I'll read you the note. It seems you have strayed off course. Since you seem so intent on pushing the boundaries of the agreement, you'll find we push back in return. If you want to see the urchin alive again, ensure the deal is fulfilled with no more distractions and in good faith. Bring us your power, the scepter, or the mother's head without further unnecessary delay. Regards, your shadow. P.S. This is the knife that removed Edgar's head. Feel free to keep it as a token. I've got more where that came from.
He's a collector too. I regard the knife. Is it a good knife?
It's a pretty whatever knife. And in fact, you would know that it's not a kind knife to use to remove someone's head.
Is there a kind knife?
Yes.
Elaborate.
And
It's
not
very sharp.
one that is very, very sharp and going to get the job done quick and not cause pain in the process.
Butter
Not that I
knife.
know.
Yeah, this is literally, this one's a blunt bread knife.
At least the bread knife's slightly serrated.
That's probably worse.
I think a butter knife would be worse.
Okay, let's not.
What an
Or
interesting
spice.
carriage conversation we're
spice.
having.
I passed the note to the two of them.
Oh, great. More things to worry about.
Where are we going exactly?
Out of the city, first of all. Why are you looking at me?
Caroline just looks down at her feet.
There is an uneasy silence inside the cart. The noise of the clattering against this hard stones and you know, awkward streets of Ironspire and the tight corners are the most noticeable thing is everyone's sort of waiting to see what happens next. And it seems like the cart is going in a different direction to the way you came in. After a good 10 minutes, when it seems like you're far enough away from the calamity that the noise is much more distant, but there are still people running in the direction of what you can, even from this far away, see as some flames. Russell creaks the front sliding door open slightly and just sort of whispers sharply in the back. We won't be able to talk for a while. I have to exit a very different way to the way we came to avoid suspicion and to make sure we can at least get out to have that conversation. This is going to be a long journey. I'll head back to Cragmouth. Hold tight. He slides the door shut. And the cart continues. And continues.
I'm going to try and get some sleep.
Okay. It's a tight and uncomfortable cart. It would be hard to find space to lay down. It would most likely be the floor.
Cool.
Okay.
I will have a very uncomfortable sleep on the floor.
Roll an endurance check.
To sleep?
You're in a
bumpy ride,
bouncing,
yeah.
unsuspended, not very comfortable carriage.
What is my challenge level?
4.
Fuck me.
2.
You do not get any sleep.
Do you still?
In any moments that the tiredness starts to sort of hit you a little bit, there's a jolt and a ka-gunk, and you sort of whack your head on the floor and probably eventually
So
give
what
up.
you're saying is when I sleep when I don't want to and I can't sleep when I do want to.
Yes.
Yep.
It's always the way.
The time sort of passes and the bottle slowly empties as Eladra sort of glances eye contact between everyone and eventually sort of shifts back and forth between the outside.
Does my awful ringing in my head stop?
Not yet.
Okay.
You do feel a slight sense of relief, but only like the slight sense of relief of if you had a migraine and someone was banging a pot in the next room. It's
Okay.
still,
Yep.
it's still there and it's still difficult.
Can I still read her emotions?
Yeah, I'll say you still have them.
Okay. How is she feeling now?
More numb, but scared,
Scared. Yeah.
confused
Okay.
underneath it all.
I want to turn to her, just really casually, and say,
She's sort of like tapping on her arm. She's sort of just holding a glass of wine.
Phelan wine, am I correct?
Tunisian, actually.
This really? May I see? I just want to look at the label.
She sort of like hangs it in your direction.
Oh, a beautiful choice.
Wow.
You know, it's so hard to find good Tunisian wine. I mean, I've been all over the place and I just can't find the right stuff. But you have taste. Oh,
And she just starts to, and you feel this welling up, like she's falling apart a little bit.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to upset you.
No, it's choice is not something I've had much in the last few weeks, you could say. So I apologize. I'm not as composed as I might otherwise be.
It is fine.
You're Thanisian, of course. What is your profession?
Oh, well, my mother wanted me to be a politician or some woman of power, but I just trade in art. Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, just.
That's what brought me and dear Dariet over here in the first place. It calls to us, the art of your people. You feel as she sort of says that name, it like conjures the feeling of loss and hopelessness.
I pass the bottle back to her. How have the past couple of days been?
It's all fallen away into a mush. I'm not aware of a lot these days. I'm trying to get through until this all fades away. Ainsley's been very good, actually. He assures me he's taking good care of Medela and
Your husband?
pardon?
Nothing.
Okay. Anyway, she sort of says, shaking her head, Brick,
Yes.
I hope you have been keeping up your training. You are on the tail end of your regimented training, as I recall, not fully past your she sort of wanders off and is talking. It's like small talk is just not really doing it for her.
Did you know the Brick was entrusted to take care of Medela for a period of time?
Oh yes, that's why I gave him to Ainsley.
We made many memories with her. She is truly a special child.
And she smiles, and as she does, the sort of lifted cheeks show the tears in her eyes, and she nods. Yes, she is a dear one. I'm just grateful she's looked after.
I kind of eye over at both of you two.
What is happening? What is going on? I hoped Ainsley would get me out of there, but I didn't expect such calamity in the process.
As I told you, we are not here because of Ainsley.
Then what else could you be here for, Brick? Don't be silly.
Are you going to say it or am I?
What?
What was that? What was that note you grabbed?
Oh,
You seem a little.
Oh, here you go. So that's the boy that we picked up off the streets. Ainsley's gonna kill him. There it is for you.
What are you talking about? He would never do such a thing.
Huh?
What's afoot here? Who are you?
You have traded your niece to a monster.
No, I know Ainsley. He's no monster. He's a good man.
I think before...
Why would you speak that of your master?
I am bound to protect him. I do not need to like him.
She looks like pretty shocked that you would say something about someone you are, under the command of. So, Brick, you are not speaking like you should.
And you are not in a position
Someone
to
explain
tell
to me what is going on.
You are not in a position to tell me how I should be speaking. You are no longer my master.
Am I a hostage?
No.
You were. Or didn't you notice?
Yes, to the city, to the king, but Ainsley sent you to...
No. In fact, coming to see you is exactly why that boy's gonna get killed. Because we're straying off Ainsley's plan. I figure he kinda liked you, locked away. Able to use whatever power you've got for his own, on the promise of being kind to you. He did like those business trips with your husband, Ainsley did. Or so I hear.
She looks...
What is she feeling?
She is like...
Is she not believing? Or?
There's something creeping through the numbness, and it's shock and it's disbelief, but she's not moving.
I look at Delvin if he looks me in the eyes or unless he's no. Okay. I just listen.
So you feel her like not believing what is being said, but there's also just something stopping her from moving or talking.
Perhaps you should hear our story. We have a very long cart ride to our next destination, and maybe it would clarify some things.
The guard, he said Cragmouth. For what purpose are we headed to Cragmouth? You're taking me back to Ainsley.
Well, I guess in the end that decision's up to you, but we have some stuff to tell you, and you're not going to like it.
She slowly lifts the bottle and goes to pour, but there's only 2 drops that fall out the end into an empty glass. And she numbly lowers her arms, and the bottle clanks to the cart and rolls to the back of the cart as the cart's heading down and around to the front gate. You're now in the outer area heading towards a wall, but to the far south of IRONSPIRE, to the southern trading district. And Catalina, more than anyone, would know that it's a long journey just to get back to the outer northern region outside IRONSPIRE, let alone Cragmouth. You doubt you'll be back before dawn if you're going to just trample till you get there, which, having not heard anything from the front of the cart...
That's probably what's going to happen, yeah. Cool. Okay.
Well, I might as well at least know. How do I know I can trust you? Brick, you are always so reliable. They haven't broken you, have they?
Brick just chuckles.
Oh, God.
I think Brick is possibly more Brick than he's ever been. Brick.
You want to know how you can trust us? I don't know if it says anything, but we just walked through fire to pull you out. The most protected place on the continent. Now, I don't know how you feel, but to me that deserves at least an open ear.
Very well. I am unharmed, and you are speaking reasonably, even these hours after such tumult. So, speak to me. And as she sort of says this, and as the outer wall sort of passes overhead the carriage, and you sort of see the shadow pass by the windows, no one's stopping the cart. Seems like Russell knows the direction to go to be furthest away from this happening, but also the paths to take to not be checked. And Delvin feels a slight sense of relief as over this time the distance from the spire has freed him up a little bit to have a little bit more control over his faculties, a little less buzzing pain and stretching of his very spirit. So you're still in an uncomfortable place, but it's much more manageable.
So
now I'm just at my injury.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to, while Delvin's sort of recovering, I'm going to tell her pretty much the story that we have had so far, so that we met Medela, we took her on this amazing journey, and then I'm going to stop at Ainsley. But the tone I want to convey is very casual, very calming, kind of happy, and relay that we had so much fun with her, and we made her feel special, and she felt special, and we cared about her a lot.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Ainsley.
Ainsley is not who you think he is.
Who is he?
He goes by the name The Dealer. He's a high-level watcher with contacts all over the nation.
I heard a rumor of these watchers, the people they hang in the capital. What?
Yeah, well, they're the little guys.
Pickpockets and throat slitters and
Conspiratorial
forest people. What's
web, like a spider's web throughout every single organization you think they're not in. They have an ear in every court. They have a knife in every back that matters. And they're terrifying. And Ainsley just happens to be one of the most fucking terrifying of the lot. Or the most insane. Because he seems to think that he's bigger than all that.
I can't. I know, I feel you're not lying to me, but I've known this man for almost a year, and he was nothing but good to us. Very kind and trusting. And trustworthy.
Sometimes the best tool you have is to be nice. Because trust is easily won. If you're nice. Spoonful of sugar.
We have more information regarding Ainsley.
She swallows. Her mouth is dry and she says, "Where is Medela?"
Medela, if she's lucky, is in a nice comfortable bed. In a nice comfortable room. With a couple of guards on her door, just like you. If she's unlucky, she's in a cold room with a couple of rats on the floor. If she's... well, he wouldn't be stupid enough to get rid of her already. She's a prisoner.
I just can't imagine he would have the capacity to do something so cruel. He loved my niece.
People like Ainsley don't really love anything except themselves. He just likes things that make his life more convenient. And unfortunately, right now, that's Medela.
I just want to leave this godforsaken country and go back home.
Well, you see, that's the reason why we came to you. We need your help.
What can I do? She says, wine-stained robe with like slightly frazzled hair.
I look over to Brick, like looking at, like telling her to look sort of over there. And then I look at Delvin and I look back at her. And I say, do you have any power over the contract that binds Brick?
The contract is seen through. He's another's property. I cannot rescind, but what use would that be?
Well...
You mean to take him out with brute force? With Brick? You've seen his Phalanco guards. Gifts from some of my friends. This man is...
Well, what should we do then?
I don't know. I never thought anything like this was even possible. Oh God, it's Medela.
If we don't do something, I think we know what's going to happen. If we do something, I think we know what's going to happen.
Does she seem vengeful in her emotion at all, or is it still quite wallowing and sad?
Very sad and broken and helpless.
Okay.
She doesn't feel vengeful or angry yet because it's not real to her yet.
Yeah.
You don't feel it really latching or amplifying her feelings about, because she's got almost a year's worth of really positive feelings that she has to overcome to feel that. And you can sort of sense that resistance.
Okay.
Ownership of Brick was transferred to Ainsley until Medela be returned to me. However, through our correspondence, well, I thought it best that he look after her. I didn't want her to be stuck in the capital with me. In fact, I was going to encourage him to see if he could take her back to Felmore, and he seemed quite willing to set her up and look after her on the journey. And I had some associates that I would have been willing, of course, to make sure he had a means of living in relative peace in Felmore.
Even the start was a con. I should have seen it. It's too obvious.
What do you mean?
Don't you remember the guilt? Taking this sweet little girl, and we were sending her away to her evil auntie in the city who was going to mistreat her and use her as a political tool. Even that was bullshit from Ainsley. She cares more about him than about her than we were led to believe. So he's had you round his little finger.
It's been hard to think outside my cell, she says.
But doesn't that just piss you off?
It did. I raged, screamed out the doors to the ever still and silent sentinels that stood outside my door day and night. I was given modicums of relative comfort. I can't complain. I have enough wine to keep me occupied and numb, but I just thought it was something I would have to see through and just find my way home. Ainsley was my... She catches her breath.
Okay.
He was my ally and only hope to last through this situation.
Well, now you're out of the city, aren't you? There's plenty of places out there that don't go arresting Phelan.
The door to where Russell is sort of opens. And there are sort of little windows that you can sort of glance over. And as you say that, she does look through the window and see the distant iron spire, which is still freaking huge. But you're about, you're a mile or two away from the outer wall and going parallel with it all the way around. Russell says, "We should be reasonably clear enough until Cragmouth. It's going to be a long journey, but, well, you're out and you're safe. I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation, but I need to know what happened."
I'd take a brief moment to look in the eyes of everyone around the room. And then I say, "Oh, I want to know what you think happened. What could possibly have caused that amount of chaos and commotion right in front of the IRONSPIRE? City's in flames, a city made of stone. It was magic." Does he react at all?
He's facing the road. You can sort of see the silhouette, the rim-lit side of his face as he's sternly looking forward. His beard masks his emotions significantly, and he's sort of... He's not responding.
The king... And as I say that, I look at Kat, and do you nod? The King of Flames.
There's only one person we know that possesses that kind of power.
Okay, roll a persuasion check.
Deception?
Oh, yeah, definitely deception.
Can I roll?
I'm overtly lying.
Now, Catalina,
You roll.
you can assist
Okay.
with your
Emotions.
magic,
You only have got one mana now.
I do.
but you have to read his emotion first.
Okay. I'm happy to do that. Let's read his emotion.
Okay, so read first. You successfully read his emotions. You capture
Have you
him
got Destiny left?
I do for one.
Okay.
where he is still and silent. The moment you tap into his very soul, you feel a dark storm of confusion and shock and anger and indignance and disbelief.
Okay.
It's a swirl, and it doesn't have any clear direction.
Alrighty. So, if I use a destiny,
You can just retain your magic dice if it fails. That's what...
okay.
If you use a mana and you don't, and you lose,
You can
it,
use a destiny to
keep
retain your mana. You could also preemptively use a destiny to have, I'll let you roll another dice and do more.
Yeah.
But then what happens if you'll lose your mana, probably guaranteed.
You'll just,
That's fine.
more likely to lose.
I would rather, I'm happy to use the destiny to roll 2.
Don't risk it.
You guys got to start
Don't risk
risking it for the biscuit.
No, because then you won't have your powers. No.
Well, for the day and it's nighttime.
Yeah,
You
you guys
need to-
haven't rested in a while.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
All right.
Breaks on the floor, just like, goddamn road.
And you got 1 success, which means you've lost your
You've
mana.
lost your mana, but you have a +2 to your deception, Delvin.
I feel like you should also have a negative if he's facing the other way. Not Delvin.
It's a pretty big accusation.
Yeah,
Right.
it's general perception, but they've got a huge bonus.
All right. Everything's fine. Because for this lie, I'm going to get just every success.
Go!
The 3s were not destinied, but that's 3 successes.
It looks more
It
successful
looks
than
great.
it is.
I thought it was all 6.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you use a destiny?
No, I don't have
Oh.
any.
Okay,
I
so
thought
that's
you could use
3
3, that's
plus
5.
2 wins against 1,
5
2,
versus
3,
4.
4.
Okay.
Okay. Thank goodness Catalina was channeling his emotions, because as Delvin says this, I think you, or did you say the King of Flames? One of you says this.
He said King of Flames. I said there's only one person who can possess this power.
And you feel like you are in the middle of this storm inside him as you're just sort of searching for the thing that you know you need to grab and amplify. And as that is said, there's it's like you're surrounded in this storm of emotion, and there are a few things that immediately go to fire up, and you just use everything within you to grab shock and anger and pull that out of the storm and amplify it. The King of Flames.
I look over at Delvin like,
There are 2 instances in the last 2 weeks of parts of cities being lit on fire by vengeful people.
I'm afraid to say this. Rather more than 2. He clears his throat.
I'm sorry, what?
Felmore wasn't the only city. I struggled to believe it at first. I became aware of it only in the last few days. One south to the border of the Watchwood and one near the mines on the mountain crown. It's being spread internally as the justice, the vengeance of the king, the rising of his power, a call to arms.
Well, now you see the madness of the king.
Now I see the madness of the king, he says, nodding in repetition. And he's looking off to the side, and you can see this slightly tinted magenta flame way off in the distance, miles away, but just this little glimmer.
Darwin has a brief moment when he thinks, I helped with that fire because I just lit her house on fire.
He's speechless.
Yeah. So, our best hope is that, at the very least, word spreads of what happened, and it's another dent against the king's honor. Maybe more people will start to wake up.
yeah.
Eladra looks pretty disbelieving at all of this. I wasn't thoroughly filled in on the details of what happened at the trading camp.
Did you even know anything happened?
Well, yes, everyone was
Right.
killed, and I didn't have many details, but I was told that there was some conspiracy involving the forest dwellers and the northern mountain people.
The king or his agents arrived.
Burned everyone.
And you saw this. She turns to you, sort of acknowledging you, like a presence in the room for one of the first times since you've come back.
We were out of town on an errand, and then when we returned, there was nothing but ash.
You saw it. You were there.
I saw what was left.
What was left?
Nothing.
With your own eyes, you saw this.
The charred bones of my people.
And the carrion crow that picked from him.
Well, what now?
Well, I'm thinking I've got some business to do in Cragsma, and then I'm thinking I'm going to kill someone who keeps following me around, or die trying. And then I'm going to go to Geldavale, and if I can, I'm going to pull every pin out of every part of Ainsley's operation that I can, and that will finish with me killing him, probably slowly and definitely painfully.
I can't claim to want to have much to do with such a brutal goal, but I certainly want to see my niece out safely. I would hope that I know enough about Ainsley to be of some help in your preparation, but you'll forgive me if I advise that my faculties are currently under-equipped.
Well, I sure hope you've got something, because a 15-year-old's dying for it.
You mentioned, and she looks down at the note in your hand. Another. You mean to tell me Ainsley is the kind of person that would hold the lives of 2 children hostage?
Oh, and my dear mother.
And my father.
I truly did not know this man. They speak truth, Brick.
Brick.
Do you still serve Ainsley? You
Because
must.
of you.
Oh, don't do that. She shakes her head. I did what I knew to be best, to manage my affairs, to keep my kin safe. It was all I knew.
Foolish.
I beg your pardon.
Foolish.
They have broken him.
Brick. I want you to tell me again, just remind me what you told me about Medela's uncle and his private affairs with Ainsley.
What is he talking about, Brick?
It was quite well known within the Guardsmen when we were protecting your husband that his trips to Ainsley were not purely for business.
She's like frozen. She doesn't want you to keep talking, but she's waiting for you to keep talking.
There was an element of pleasure.
If you're saying what I think you're saying, what are you saying, Brick?
I'm saying that you were cuckolded.
Not the term I was expecting to hear Brick say.
Really hard to say the next.
Why is it that you 3 enter my doorstep amongst burning flames and tell me everything I know about the people in my life is wrong? Darriet and I had a troubled and loveless marriage, but that does not mean that he was not loyal That does not mean he did not love me above all others.
And I can't speak to that.
Roll a persuasion check. Against 2.
What am I trying to persuade?
It's just how persuasively can you make your...
Am I basing it in strength?
I'm going to allow you to simply because of the bodyguard nature of your relationship.
Assist with bodyguard.
Yeah, you're welcome to assist
If
with
you-
bodyguard. If you statistically would.
He never gets to. I just thought I'd throw it in there.
Hey!
4 successes. Very good.
Well done.
I wish I hadn't rolled.
All right. I'm going to make an endurance check. No.
Alcohol keeps it strong.
Yeah, no, she
2.
starts banging on the cart door and the cart sort of, with a bit more persuasion, sort of pulls up. She's holding in her wine and then eventually stumbles out as the back door opens and she vomits on the side of the
I
road.
go hold her hair up.
She's just sobbing and broken.
I'll
You're
rub her
still
back.
holding on to her emotions and she's just so brokenhearted right now
I rub it
and
back.
very, very drunk.
I clamber out and stretch over to walk over to the captain.
You're a good distance from the city now and in pitch black except for the starlight, so you dimly see the captain sort of sitting back in the driver's seat.
Russell, are these these uniforms made, or should we keep them disguised, or?
I'm so heavily implicated in all of this, I don't quite know what to recommend. For now, we'll keep them in the cart. I'll sort it out in the morning. I'm past thinking rationally at this point.
So keep it on.
If you stay in the cart, no, we're entering Cragmouth. You'll have to take it off by the time we reach town.
Right.
I don't think it passes Grey Guards. When they...
You know what? You might be right. And then I turn around and walk back. Delvin was that close to rebutting and then remembered the last time he tried to impersonate a Grey Guard.
And also you're all covered in like ash and blood and smell.
Half it's falling
and
off.
yeah, it's like, it's not a typical, like, you don't look like a normal Grey Guard right now.
Should we just ditch the armor here on the side of the road?
Does Brick suggest that?
Should we ditch the armor here on the side of the road?
Russell, is that going to be harder to deal with? Then they know guards were implicated. If he gets rid of it, they might not know guards were involved.
Keep it in the cart. I'll dispose of it.
Right.
Although, I imagine your change of clothes is, well, where they were left.
Yeah, that's right. So, yep.
I can arrange a solution.
Well, I'm not naked under my armor. I've got underclothes. That's fine.
Just take official attire off when we reach Cragmouth. I'll dispose of it.
Right. When they're finished there.
Eladra lightheadedly sort of stumbles back to the cart. She's sort of beyond being spoken to right now.
Yeah,
She's got too much to process and it's like 2 a.m. and she's very weary and dreary. And the cart ride continues and continues and continues. I don't suppose there's anything in particular you guys want to talk about or even amongst each other.
Whisper
But
and say what happened back in IRONSPIRE was pretty fucking cool. just saying.
I thought it was terrifying.
Yes.
And as he's talking, Delvin pulls out a knife and the longest knife he's got.
It's a long knife you have there, Delvin.
It's sharp too. And then he sticks it up.
Catalina seems sort of into this.
I had to say it.
And,
Sorry.
It's a sort of a sexy knife, Delvin. Is anyone else really
we
turned on
touched
by what just happened? I made a fucking fireball. Mm. Sorry.
He slips up and holds his breastplate and with a firm just slices through the leather strap rather than bothering to take his armor off on the breastplate to Pauldron, and Pauldron just clatters off onto the thing and then goes around to the
Very
other side.
sharp knife.
Leather's just hard flesh. Leather straps, easy to cut.
Why on earth did you do that? Why didn't you just take it off?
It's fucked anyway. Why bother? Do you know how hard it is to take off a breastplate on your own?
Roll a perception check.
Hey, if we're going to be here for a while, can I just... I have my weapon with me, right? Because we didn't take it into the city. Yeah, cool. Can I walk off and start attacking a tree?
No, you're
We're
back
in
in the
the
cart.
Oh, I thought you were still puking.
No.
Catalina got 4 and notices that Delvin's very sweaty clothes are just stuck to a very fit body as he leans back in the cart.
So,
Yeah, pull the breastplate off
so
and just drop it down. I've got like a white undershirt that is like 5 sizes too big, and it's just completely soaked through, and you're basically looking at like extreme athlete level of fitness. Buttons, like top 3 buttons are undone.
Dylan,
Right.
Have-
Cat.
you asleep? Or are you like trying to sleep? Or are you?
Yeah, sure.
You seem very physically able.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what happened back there?
Did I ever say I wasn't physically able?
Oh hell,
Or
you
did
are.
you just assume that?
You're a master of disguise.
You notice,
Love-
Russell sort of leaning through, like glancing through the window and says, Baron, that's a surprise.
A good one, I hope, Russell.
Well, you slit throats with such finesse. She's asleep.
Wait,
not.
no,
Russell.
I was just going to say, do you say this to...
No,
Okay.
no.
Russell's
With such
leaning.
finesse.
I thought he was like,
Okay, he just
Yeah.
interjected into the conversation, so
Okay.
you probably wouldn't have said that.
that's fine. Just kick me under the
Just
table.
kick you under the table. All
I'm
right.
going to let time pass here a little bit, unless you wanted to.
No.
So, time enough passes that the dark light of dawn starts to emerge, and you can see Cragmouth off in the distance.
And Delvin's shirt becomes slightly less see-through once the armor's on as it dries off.
Yeah, hours pass. Look, if you... I'm going to say there's probably so much adrenaline in your system after all that you'll probably start to feel like, you're crashing, but it would have been pretty hard to feel settled for any time. But at this point, enough hours have passed and the journey has been long and on a downhill slope, which is at least, faster. But you're going to get to Cragmouth and it's going to be like an early morning.
Yeah.
In fact, off in the distance, you can see some farm workers begin to work.
Cool.
In between fitfully falling asleep, I'm just giving like real shady eye to Aladra.
Oh, Shady Eye.
Yeah.
You're not her biggest fan.
No, I'm pissed at her.
She's past noticing.
I was gonna say, shouldn't you passed out and like?
Yeah,
the corner.
she's like the most equipped to drift in and out of sleep right now.
In any position.
Russell sort of, chimes into the back and says, I'm going to take the car to one of the least populated and currently, I believe, out of order facilities, which I should be able to get you out, get a change of clothes, and dispose of the armor in short order. I believe if my assumptions of the Cragmouth schedules are right, the far south should do. Then
Oh, you mean the guard roster?
yes.
Oh, I've got that here. I pull out my satchel, unfold the thing.
He grabs it and pulls it out and says,
Accurate to a man.
"This is more accurate than the one I was given, boy.
I know.
How did you get a hold of this?"
I told you. Eyes everywhere.
You're an enigma, Barrowan. Strange, strange man. He sort of folds it up and slowly passes it back to you. Yes, those routes.
All right, well, we know they're accurate then.
Well, once we get back, and once you're safe, once everyone is rested, I will have done the favor you asked of me, I believe. So I would wish you all well on your way. I hope that the acquisition of this woman will help bring her niece back to her safely.
I would like you to get in touch with some people. A meeting, I believe we'd mentioned briefly.
I'm sorry. What's this again?
I know that there's been a lot in the last few days that have shaken your faith. And man, I assure you I know what it feels like to have your faith shaken to the core. There's a group of people who I believe are doing good in this nation, and they may have use for a man of your talents and good heart. They're called the Children of Amar. And the fact that you haven't heard their name tells me they're good at hiding, which is good. They wanted to meet with you. In fact, I believe it's because of them that your trial was inconclusive as opposed to being, well, less than favorable.
Melba. She is with these
She's connected.
children.
They want to bring about a future where everyone's equal, at least racially. And there aren't tyrant kings starting wars.
Well, I was truly loyal to the path I was on all but a few days ago. That path is now a bridge that has burned by the fires of the King of Flames himself. I should like to meet these children of Amar, did you say? Thenesian word.
Indeed.
Mother, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Very well. I suppose I'll wait for them to contact me.
Hopefully they don't end up being secret assholes as well. We can set something up as well. I feel like they wanted to meet him, and we had a very specific...
Yeah. I wasn't really writing down everyone else's problems, so I'm still married.
They'll be in touch.
Yeah.
He continues to drive the cart, and by this point, you're sort of a few stones throw away from the wall. Everyone roll a perception check. I'm going to say, okay, you have to include your negatives. Anyone who is... And I'm going to say everyone's pretty fatigued right now, so -1d, however many.
Nope.
What was your roll?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a mathematics. I rolled 4 successes and 1 failure. So on a 1, 2, 3, or a 4, I keep the failure, not the success. Yeah. So the failure goes away. And I rolled 4 successes. Does that work probability-wise?
Yeah, sure.
I rolled 5 dice. He then minus the dice from me. I got to keep my dice roll and randomize which dice disappeared.
Yep. Bricks. Boom.
Woo.
As you pass, one of the farmsteads of sort of, it's like a working house with, a whole bunch of people prepping for the day. And there's like a cluster of 5 people gathered around. Oh, no. Young lad, like animatedly talking quietly to this group. Not so quiet that he isn't excitable enough to be overheard by a coach passing by. When he notices the official looking cart, he sort of immediately lowers his tone. But you caught the words, the Sparrow. And you overheard something about the murder being in vengeance for an affair. I'm going to say you heard that, and that's due to your rolls, but
Murder for an affair.
yeah, vengeance for an affair.
Oh.
Okay.
And you look out and you notice a group of sort of Graydon farm owner looking people, sort of prepping to sort of get tools off to their Thanisian farm hands. And there's like a young Barrowan looking one, and there's a couple of Thanisians off to the side getting some tools together. But that's all you notice. And the cart continues on. As it's sort of hushed and everyone's like looking confused. Eventually, the cart rolls into town.
I'm very curious about vengeful murder, but it seems kind of below our pay grade right now.
Why is it no matter where we go, there's always just trouble?
Well, either we're fucked or this country is, because I tell you what, it wasn't that bad in Felton.
After about an hour, and by this stage, by the time you're reaching the gates of Cragmouth, the doors are all shut, the windows are shut, and you're sort of sitting in the dark carriage with the light creaking through the gaps. And it trundles along the back road to go along parallel to the inside of the wall, and eventually a fairly ambiguous guardhouse to the south of Cragmouth. Fairly abandoned. Looks like it's one of the older ones in the city that's no longer really up to scratch. The cart rolls in. It seems like there's probably, some guard activity just out of necessity in the state of the city, but everyone is pretty busy and not in there. They're elsewhere. And the back door of the cart is opened up, and you're all allowed to step out into an interior, as the door has been shut to basically a warehouse. There's a few other carts in here. Most of them are covered in dust. It's really old looking thing. This is not a heavily used military complex. Mm-hmm. Russell nods firmly, says, "You have a bit of cleaning up to do. I think at this stage the best thing would be for you to go along your way as swiftly as possible so no one is implicated. I hope if I see you again, it is safely and in better conditions and circumstances."
I go up and extend a hand to him.
He, without hesitation, holds his hand and grasps it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shakes his head and says, "Sorry, I just had the oddest sense of deja vu."
May.
And that's a Thanisian word meaning a familiar encounter.
May the next time we meet be over a drink with song and merriment in our hearts, because I think we need it.
Aye. Barrowan, Thanisian, Phelan cool. Phelan. He says, sort of like peering over at like a passed out middle-aged woman sort of in the back of the cart. "Leave the armor where it is. The best path out is," and he sort of indicates. And you already know because there's a path on your map with no guard station here at this period of time.
Cool.
And off you go.
Well, yeah, we take the lead out into the streets in the early morning.
To an inn?
I'm going to guess that we're in the Barrowan sector of town.
Yeah.
By the abandoned guardhouse.
Yeah. It's
the slummies.
Not quite. Well, yeah, I think I'm going to say you probably are peripherally aware of a much more distant, much more robust and active guardhouse.
Yeah.
They probably had to upgrade in the Barrowan area because it is pretty slummy. So this isn't like an actively used one, but it was guarded enough that like it can't be, what's the word when people sort of live in an abandoned place or whatever? Squatters, yeah. So it doesn't really have squatters or anything. There was like a sleeping, there's a couple of people who aren't, who are relegated to just keep that one property of the city and not have troublemakers enter it. But with Russell guiding you through and keeping people distracted, you get out in no
Russell's
time.
leading us.
Yeah. Oh, he shows you out through to the street and indicates where to go.
Do we take bacon and eggs with us?
He will have. If you say that as you're sort of like wandering off, he says, "Don't worry, I can have them returned to where your previous garage was." Give me a day.
It
was like 2 doors down from your previous inn.
So
On that note, I might suggest you don't stay at that inn tonight.
if you want discreet, I know a tavern.
Great.
How many times have you been to Cragmouth, lad?
Just the once, actually. But I get around.
I see. Well, good luck. So he nods and he heads back into the guardhouse and locks the door behind him as you all head off.
Woo.
So, is it discretion or... fuck, I need a good rest.
There is a Phelan woman who's wearing different clothes but looking super hungover and just like trailing along behind and sheepishly snapping glances up at Brick, looking a little perturbed.
I am pointedly ignoring her existence.
I kind of like lead her with the group because he's not going to pick her up. So I can't pick her up. You can't pick her up.
She's stumbling along. She's following.
Okay, I
She's
catch up
not
to her,
drunk.
though.
She's just
It's no big deal.
post-drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's early morning walk. I'll go up to her either way and just kind of lead her through.
And she looks keen to sort of stay out of sight because she's probably used to being looked at amongst, Graydon civilization. So
I will say to her, so we intend to find lodgings.
she's wearing like a shawl around her head and she nods. What sort of lodgings do you have in mind? She sort of like glances around the streets. There's a few boarded up windows. It's not looking great.
Delvin?
I didn't say I know nice lodgings, but I know a tavern. However, I'm sure there's some fancier venues.
Whatever you can find, we don't need fancy. I turn to her and say that at her face.
She doesn't say anything.
Pretty much me being like, you're going with us and you're staying wherever we can put you because we can't risk this.
All right.
So we're walking down the back streets, the southern, fairly slummy streets of Cragmouth. It's not pleasant. Even early in the morning, you see at least 3 people pass down on the street, one with just blood all down her front. Just not pleasant. You do notice a couple of Graydon guards. And at one point, you even notice the silhouette of an iron guard. Looking reasonably distant and just wandering on a fairly straightforward patrol. Roll a perception check. This one's...
We still have a -1 because we're exhausted.
1.
Yeah, everyone's got -1 to their rolls. Challenge level 3.
All right, so I'm going to roll, and on a 1 to 16, I lose the positive result. That's 0 successes.
Ain't nothing.
Three. Yep.
Oh, so Brick gets it? Okay. There's someone following you. A fair distance behind.
Can I make out anything about them?
You got the 3. You notice them following you. You don't notice a lot about them, and they seem to sort of have their face covered. I'm going to roll their perception. Challenge level 3 in return. No, so he doesn't notice that you notice him.
Covertly mention to Delvin.
We are being followed.
Oh, it's new.
How far back do I presume he is?
Like 4 houses.
He's about 4 houses back. I cannot make out who or what it is.
How much longer? Are we almost there?
I've only been here once. Look,
What could have possibly brought you here? Says a voice towards the back of the party, sort of like holding very tightly to herself.
I'm going to stand next to her knowing, I'm assuming I overheard that what Brick said. So I'm going to kind of make sure she sort of keeps up with the group.
Yeah.
what's the chap look like who's following us? Does Brick?
She pulls her sleeves over like gold
Picture.
bangles, yeah. What? Sorry.
Brick. As we keep walking, we're not stopping. What's he look like?
You're gonna have to roll another perception.
I did not get a good look, and I'm afraid if I try to look, he will spot me.
Well, in these parts of town, you can either scurry off or you can confront the problem and make it realize it's not worth it. So sometimes turning around is the best way to deal with it.
I mean, you are pretty intimidating.
It's only one guy, right?
As far as I can tell.
And he's not climbing across rooftops like a shadow.
Give me the destiny dice. Okay. Okay.
He's not crawling across a rooftop.
That was a 14 destiny roll. They're further behind.
What?
They've slowed down.
Yeah, but they're not crawling across roofs.
Not at this point. At the moment, they're sort of slinking on the ground and about 6 houses back.
They've slowed down, but no, they're not crawling across the roofs. Shall we make the next corner and set up a blind?
Right. That's probably for the best. Get the drop on them, right?
Hopefully.
But don't be too rough, just in case. There's
I'm going to say you're about a block from an inn that you're aware of.
cool. There's lots of people here that are just trying to get by.
I understand. But back at you.
Cool. Yeah. I pull out a knife and then I unclip the sheath the knife is on and then sheath the knife and then hold that. And I'm like, it'll hurt, but I won't kill him if it comes to it. And then we get in position to...
You sort of turn the corner into a more subtle alleyway. And you pick one that looks like you might actually, be heading somewhere. But I'm assuming sort of stop not far into the alley.
Yeah.
Not many moments pass. And a figure sort of steps into sight and stops dead and looks you in the eye. That was a 9. He raises a hand and says, "The woman. I want the gold.
What, me?
Tell her to drop the gold." He's indicating at the Phelan.
Don't kill him, Brick. Just... Wait.
This isn't a negotiation. Give me the damn gold.
Oh, buddy, I think you really don't want to be picking a fight with
You
us.
don't want to pick a fight with me today. Give me the gold. Now. Well, I'm going
Why not?
to count to 5.
Can I just
You have your weapon, right?
Yeah, I have my weapon.
I'm tapped
Disarm
out.
him.
I'm tapped out.
Can I just be like, I want to walk up to him with my weapon bared menacingly and just literally try and intimidate him out of this.
1.
keep counting?
2.
The last fight we got into, this guy beat me and I cannot let that stand. So I will take your number if you would like it.
3.
4. And I raise my weapon.
That's very intimidating, Rob. That is very intimidating. What is he, Baron or Graydon?
Baron.
I pull out coin from my coin purse and without defending myself, just like extend it in an open hand towards him.
His knobbly hand drops the shank he's holding. And his shaking hands sort of like tenuously and then snatches.
I say,
And then he scurries.
as he runs, like even around, I go, "It's not worth your life."
It's worth me fucking daughters, he says as he runs away.
Did we get a good look at him?
He had sunken eyes. He was in his late 30s.
Okay, so if he popped up again, we'd be able to spot him.
Unshaven, yeah.
Cool.
I told you.
Well,
This part of town's had a hard run of it. lots of barrowing down here, and as tensions have got worse, the Graydon have found people to take it out on, I guess. But I can't imagine it was that good beforehand. Anyway, it's not much further. Actually, on that, I might need to go with this one alone.
What do you mean?
I mean that this is a dangerous part of town, and I don't want to get you guys into the same sort of mess as last time. So I'll go ahead. The tavern is a block and a half down. Take the second left. It'll probably be closed, but I'll see what I can do about that. It's
The Rusty Ale Tavern.
I'm sure that's in my notes somewhere. It is! Oh my god, there were 3 paragraphs of notes after the name of the tavern.
If it is as dangerous as you say, I should be with you.
I'm perfectly capable of handling myself, Brick, but these two, not so much.
Did you see what I did? I'm just going to keep bringing that up every single time.
Yes, Cat, that was impressive.
Brick, roll a perception.
But I understand, Delvin. But if you
Challengeable 2.
run into trouble or need our help,
Eladra is shit scared. She's trying to stay composed, but you can read her.
Cool.
Just so you know.
I also make that really, really subtle, knowing that she's kind of next to me as well, and say,
If I run into trouble and I need some help, well then I think my luck's run out. Look, give me 5 minutes. If you're desperate to come charging in the hero if something goes wrong, then you're welcome to it. But I recommend you just turn around. But come there. They won't come outside to to meet you or anything. So definitely go there. Give me 5. But if things look off, keep your wits about you.
okay.
All right. But don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. It's the Barrowan part of town. Could possibly go wrong. Can't all go wrong, right?
You're very lucky that I'm feeling really vulnerable and powerless right now, because otherwise I'd be reading your emotions so hard right now.
I told you what it... Remember a while ago I said not to poke around in my head?
Well, you make it very tempting sometimes.
Right. Suddenly she sees me without my overcoat on and she wants to poke around in me. It's always like that. I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Take care.
Off he goes. So Delvin walks down the street.
I'm not happy with this arrangement.
No, me neither. I think that maybe we should go ahead a little bit behind and keep an eye on him.
Do you follow behind?
I'm going to give him a minute instead of 5 and just, kind of start
All right.
moseying my way
You
through.
sort of slink out. The alleyways, the street is fairly empty. And a good, block away, almost around the corner, you see the side of Delvin sort of take a breath and walk into a building with the Rusty Ale sign dangling over the top with the chain broken on one side, so it's dangling.
I wasn't listening. Did you follow me?
Off at a distance.
Sneaky menace.
I want to make sure you're okay.
But he enters. He knocks first. Doesn't seem to have been open. And after a moment, he gets let in eventually. And you're left to wait. In the next 5 minutes, you feel the fatigue in your body. It's, 9 in the morning, a full, 24 hours since you were having breakfast just a block away. In the next 5 minutes, your body is balancing stress and worry with complete fatigue. As you're waiting, and nothing emerges yet, in the street opposite you, sort of on the other end of the alleyway that you were just in, it's a short alleyway. It's only 20 meters long. And around the corner from 2 houses, you hear some fairly uproarious laughter and a few people sort of shocked and jostling each other. And someone says, I can't believe it. I got a fucking tongue. And they're chatting. And you roll perception.
Still fatigued, yeah.
Still fatigued, and you'll gather based on your roll, so it'll vary.
Oh my god, I'm very scared. I got 2. That's a 2.
You both got 2. You don't see anyone, but you overhear some shock and laughter, and whoa! And one of them says, "I can't believe something so gruesome in our town, but." Oh, the sparrow's out to cut bits off whoever he fucking wants. Or she, says one of them.
Okay.
One of them says, don't waggle that thing at me. It's like, what's fresh? Iron guard meat. Ah, he's like, cackles.
I don't know about you, Brick, but I am starting to feel a little vulnerable.
I can understand that feeling.
10 minutes has passed.
I swear it's been longer than he said it would. Shouldn't we go?
I think so.
You head towards the Rusty Ale Inn. And just as you're approaching it, you're about 1 house away, the door creaks open and a crusty, weathered leather boot clanks on the ground. And a squinty face, covered in scars, is looking around, looking curious and amused. He's holding a knife in his hand with a rag, sort of wiping the end of a knife.
Hello. Fine, sir.
Oh, you then. All right. You have a friend who's in a world of trouble.
Great.
Follow me. And he heads in. No need to watch my back, he says as he walks forwards, and there's another man in there sort of leaning back. He's got a couple of earrings and he's missing a finger. He's standing behind the bar and he looks at you guys enter and eyes you as you follow behind this man. Mm-hmm. He leads you up the stairs. Every step has a creak and feels like it's about to give way. This is a not friendly establishment. And slowly leads you down a dark hallway in the top story of this 2-story inn. And he turns around. He's got a cut, an old scar that covers the length of his entire neck. Scars all along his face. His shirt is half open and you can see some scars under there too. He's a weathered, worn, battle-hardened man. All right. Don't mess up my room. And he unlatches the door and lets it creak open and stomps away behind you. And the door swings open to reveal a dusty, floored bedroom with the curtains drawn. It's very dark inside the room. And on the end of the bed is perched a black, hooded, masked figure.
Hello?
Do we recognize it?
What is the shape kind of like?
The mask is slightly beaked, pointed at the front.
Okay.
And the hood is pulled back. Hair is oiled, pulled back over the and tied back, and a very slender body in black clothing. It's just looking at you.
Ah, I believe I turn to Brick and say, I believe this is the person that's been following us.
I would have my weapon out on guard.
You have your weapon out on guard.
So, what can we do for you?
It's more about what I can do for you. I've got... And Delvin's hand reaches up and pulls down this beaked mask and just drops it beside him on the bed. It's time I come clean.
Delvin? What the fuck?
I've got a lot to tell you. And why don't you take a seat?
All right,
That was
I rolled 12. Sorry,
This is like a how do I react roll.
this was if I go into the room or not, but it was a 12. So very hesitantly, Catalina will go into the room, but the door is staying open.
I'll stand in the doorway.
Okay. And I think that's where we're going to have to end this episode.
What? It's so short. Oh.
But there is a little something that we need to let you guys know.
Okay.
The next episode, chapter 20 of IRONSPIRE, is already recorded.
Oh.
And the next episode of this series is going to cover the length of the campaign and tell the story that Delvin, or the Sparrow, is about to tell you.
Fuck. That's so cool. Oh, I'm so excited.
So that'll be fun. It's half edited, so I'll finish that off so that you guys can watch it before next week. And for those of you who join us in our stream, obviously we won't be role playing, but we're going to do a long overdue fan art session.
Oh, yay.
And
okay.
and hang out with people and sort of just hang out a bit for once, which will be really cool. We've had some pretty long sessions, but this one has been brought up for a while.
Well done. Holy fuck. I didn't even think it was you.
6 months, sir. Well played.
Can I say also, like, okay, this has been, there is so much you guys have in store. If you've been enjoying theorizing and we've been seeing people in Discord going off with their theories. It's been delightful. Trust me, you're going to enjoy the next episode. It's going to be really, really fun. I want to end the next episode. We'll do a session where we bring it back to this moment so that the end of the next chapter will be fresh with Catalina or Brick and their reactions to hearing the whole story. So it will come to the present before chapter 21 or 22. There's going to be a couple more after this one.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to the Ainsley meeting by the end of the season. So don't worry about that. We're not stuck in 20 chapters. That's just like the aim.
Yep.
But this has been a long project. I think we'll go into a little more detail later because Dave and I could gush a little bit. We've worked.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, no, we don't want to.
So what I will say is, if you love IRONSPIRE, and you should, because of all the fantastic stuff and all the hard work that's gone into narrating it, and you're the sort of person who likes looking into things, this has been going from day 0.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
multiple Patreon releases, including my favorite, the character building session that we all recorded.
Yeah.
There's a half an hour session that Dave and I had after that.
What the fuck?
Doing his proper character building.
the
dude.
character sheet on World Anvil is not Delvin's character sheet.
And he has a character sheet. So,
and none of you picked up that my roles have been different to my character sheet because as I said in the video, I'm like, don't worry, no one will double check. No one will double check.
You have to patrons, and if you're not a patron, become a patron because this one's juicy. It was very well set up in the fact that he's got exactly the same deception as the roles he would need to roll to be that character convincingly. So every role Delvin made to do any sort of vocation relating to trade was deception.
Oh my God.
So if I was ever pushed on things, I was just lying. So that was the agreement. It wasn't the same thing. Like when someone's like, what's this? What's that gold coin worth? I'd be like, oh, that's 15 ducats. And they'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, they're just a lie. He just made it up on the spot.
Yep. So there's a lot to sink our teeth into. Stay tuned for the next episode. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I can't wait for the shape of the final episodes of IRONSPIRE because I think this changes the game in a big way.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Oh, my God. Thank you for watching.
Speaking of patrons who are going to enjoy that.
Wait, let me get the goggles. The resources are coming through. And we've got some. Still far on the right. We still haven't seen them at all. They're nowhere near anywhere.
And they're off.
And we got the duck box leading out the race. How dare you! Professor X coming up next.
Tickle duck.
It's kind of fun that it's late, unpredictable, and then all too sudden.
We're all just betting on it.
Okay, I'm going to enjoy the patron hangout after this.
Oh my God. And anyone who has been doing research and keeping notes, you're going to have a field day watching next episode.
It's been so fun watching the theories.
Did we get across
There's a lot of meat to come in the next chapter. It's going to be really fun for everyone.
Did we get across that it's like secret episodes that have been recorded for the entirety of the campaign?
How have you been doing this?
We had one evening that was game dev. Do you remember that one?
Yeah,
where Dave came here by himself for game dev. That was just Dave and I. So that was a secret session. Other than that, there have been 15 minutes to 30-minute sneaky sessions.
So sneaky.
It's going to be a big episode too. It's going to be like over 3 hours. So anyway, good luck. We'll see you guys in the next chapter.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.